You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and Fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Good evening, Toronto Blue Jays fans, and welcome to another evening of Jay Bird Watching. I am your host, Craig Borden, here with my wonderful number one babe and the North Shore Twins buddy, Liz McGuire and Jason Lyons. How the hell are you both?
Guys, I'm good. I'm a little bit sick, but you know what I am not sick of? Hot Jays trades and news. I like that. Big fan of that.
We'll say your hair is perfectly feathered to wonderful baseball cat level. Just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look like you're a stand-in for a Winger documentary or I'm trying to think of one of those other terrible. What was the other one? L.A. Riot. You look like you might be the lead singer of L.A. Riot.
I appreciate this because it's not on accident that my hair looks this fluffy.
There you go.
Things are going well.
Work in that pays off.
Nice to see some action going on in the majors. Funny to see how quickly everybody turns on Juan Soto. I think it was a very different reaction with Ohtani, and I feel it's been a real shitstorm for him. But I guess you reap what you sow, right?
Did you see his quote today?
Life in New York.
No.
His quote today was like, "Hey, have you like?" I'm pretty sure it's this quote from today. I could be wrong, but they're like, "Hey, he was in his Mets outfit, which he doesn't look as good in. He looks better in any other color than those." And that's not even like a jam at him being a Met. I like that he's a Met. But he was literally like, "Hey, what have you been talking to your old teammates? What are they saying?" And he's like, "I haven't talked to them since the playoffs."
Ooh, there it is. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start there because that was 100 billion times % over the crazy catalyst to what I said was a rather crazy and chaotic winter meetings. I can't believe some of the things that came out of nowhere and all these whatnot. We're going to get all these things this evening on the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, which is episode number 438 tonight. Sorry, I had to look at the tracker. I almost lost it. So Juan Soto, 15-year deal, $765 million to become a New York Met and wear some, different colored pinstripes, but still pinstripes nonetheless. But holy shnikes. That's all I can say. I really don't have anything else to say other than that. That contract is obscene, obnoxious, and I am going to be shocked if he actually has the continuity to run through that whole contract. But let me know what y'all think. Come on.
Is there an assumption? Sorry, is there an assumption that you know how we have George Springer and we signed him for a while, but we don't really have George Springer that we signed? We have a ghost version of that. And is that kind of implied in these contracts that you're going to take on him in his prime years, probably maybe get a championship or two, but then you're going to be carrying this guy who it won't be as effective in his last 4 years.
Yeah, inflation, nothing will be worth money at that point in that year, 15 years from now. It'll be what it is. Don't worry about it. So, yeah. Jason, I agree that Liz is definitely barking up the right tree here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that we've seen this over and over and over again. It's the Bobby Bonilla, right? We're looking at big money, long time, and I think that we're in the industry to be able to try and talk about this as being an exciting piece for the Jays, but I don't know if our hearts were ever in this one. I kept seeing different holes in the situation, and the fact that he isn't a great outfielder. He's not fast. There's a lot of things that are sort of negatives against a guy who's looking to sign, the biggest deal in baseball history, basically. And I think it's upsetting when you see things like the fact that his deal is larger than, 6 of the largest deals that have ever been signed in the NHL put together. And I understand the money and the TV rights and all the rest of this stuff. But I feel like we're getting to a point here where what is going to be the ceiling? Where are we headed here? Are we headed to guys passing, $50 million a year? And then, where does that end up? We're talking about astronomical numbers that in most cases these teams aren't going to be able to pay off. They just don't. They don't have the revenue. We can't continue to create the revenue. Like, things are actually worse out there than they were 5 years ago. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, baseball attendance isn't through the roof. Baseball TV contracts are going to start to come downwards as more, like, we were just talking about wrestling just before we got on. Look, wrestling is going to Netflix, and it's brilliant. It is, they don't have to pay out anything other than what Netflix wants, which isn't that much because Netflix wants the eyes now. Netflix didn't pay a lot for the fight they had. They got a ton of eyes. And they're starting to realize that when they did do like the Apple TV games, I don't know if you guys saw any of them. They were crystal clear, though. Like, I mean, the broadcast was spectacular. Yep. Like, I have a nice TV.
Value was
yes,
but
I have a nice TV.
Announcers,
and there's very few times I get
people.
Yeah, the announcers were awful, but they'll figure that stuff out. And what I'm saying is so I don't know who would be the next compare. Maybe what's his name in Kansas City, the shortstop. Why is his name escaping me?
Bobby Witt.
Bobby Witt. What's his next deal? Is it $60 million a year? Like, I mean, this is what we're talking about.
Can I point out that? I think you hit the nail on the head, because if you had to put a gun to my head right now and said, hey, pick one of these few players, I would have given the Bobby Witt deal this kind of money with what he's done in Major League Baseball. Because to where I think this whole thing is, you had to, for that giant pile of money, you had to pay for the modern day equivalent of Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, Mickey Mantle, an all-time great. And I question if Juan Soto, when we look back at his career, is he really going to be an all-time great or a generational player? I'm not saying that he's not a really good player, but I agree. I question that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, and I think that we had some conversations about this leading up to this, and he is not. Ohtani is a generational player. Shohei Ohtani will be talked about for as long as Babe Ruth has been spoken about in baseball. Ohtani will be talked about for that long too, especially if he can keep going at this clip. I don't even know if we've seen the best of him, because if he's able to do what he did this year at the Dish and on the mound and still play in LA, I mean, come on, like it's 100%. Unbelievable. So it's Juan Soto has never ticked all of those boxes for me. In fact, I was really surprised at the size of the deals he was getting, because I mean, he was sort of up there in home runs, but not at the top, and he was up there in RBIs, but not at the top. And I mean, close
case there.
Yeah,
and he's an 8-WAR player basically last season, and he is a 26-year-old player that already has 200 career home runs. He's led the league in runs once. He's led the league. Well, he's come close to leading the league in runs scored. He's led the league twice in walks, once in batting average. There's some wins here. I agree, but is he gonna? But to that point, the Mets now have to build a team around him that he can drive those runs in. And now if you're spending all that money on him, I know it's Steve Cohen and he's got bank. Can they build a team to win a World Series around Juan Soto in the next 15 years?
I like the way Steve Cohen was like, I was also surprised we got Juan Soto.
We got Juan Soto.
I love that. Yeah.
Blue Jays fans out there, please hit us up on the chat. There's 93 of you live in the chat from the Peanut Gallery. Come on, hit us up. We're going to be talking for all night here about baseball. So.
I personally think that that this is going to be potentially the biggest swing and miss, no pun intended, in sports history. I mean, there's been
and then a swing and miss, though.
Yeah. There has been some big swings and misses prior to this. But I mean, this is a $700 million anchor.
It's spooky, and like I was scared. Like I'm scared of these big contracts. Like that could sink a team if this goes south, or like if he just doesn't perform. You're so much tied up in that. that like, and I think we forget about that. I think we're getting a little desensitized to these big numbers with the Ohtani thing. We're like, oh, is this a new norm? Ohtani went for that, and like this guy's hot right now, so he could command big numbers too. But like, let's not lose sight, like you're saying, Jason, that like Ohtani is a generational player. As I call him, a Tuesday superstar. He can do both things, and so. Is Soto the same? No, but people seem to be more willing to spend that money now that we've seen the Ohtani deal.
Well,
a friend of the show online here, I got a comment from the Peanut Gallery with Mish here all over that. I think she actually might have gotten the equation more correct here than any of us just did in this fact, because she was basically saying, good job for Soto. Wait, it was actually Boris that really was the biggest winner here. So, and that's the big thing right there, too. Same thing with Blake Snell, obviously, getting that win in the free agent column right before all this stuff in the winter meetings. But go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, when you look at the Mets, I mean, Juan Soto has been successful when he has had a significant bat somewhere really near him. Yeah. And I mean, Lindor is legit. I mean, there's no argument there. But he's not Aaron Judge, and he's not Fernando Tatis, and he's not Manny Machado. So, I mean,
so does that make it that much more important for the Mets to score Alonso to play first base to anchor that lineup in?
Right. Now, there's already been talk. I've already seen it. Yeah. There's already been talk that Alonso might end up being their piece that they want to start, flexing around the to see what they can get for him. But if you look at the league,
certain other teams, wink, 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 involved in maybe getting a giant bat like that, but we'll see how that works. Jason, you just muted yourself if you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm actual real life sort of getting. There we go. See, there we go. Hey. Dog warts.
Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm with Liz on this. I'm not a proponent of these monster deals. I am not. Even when the Jays were in the hunt for Ohtani, it was still very fearful more than anything. The Jays have now started to talk about Teoscar. And I mean, Teoscar is going to demand a big chunk of money. Let's not beat around the bush. He's going to ask for a lot of money. And he knows that he's got the Jays in a soft spot as well where they want him. So that does create, voids. And what you're going to start to see in some of these teams is you're going to start to see the Anaheim Angels of Anaheim, California, Angels, California, which is two superstars on a crap bag team that never makes the playoffs and are completely irrelevant. It's the teams like the Orioles and, the Dodgers, of course, are superstars,
but they have the depth.
They've made a decision to bring in depth players, rather than trying to just keep the guys that they've got. And I mean, there's not enough people are going to want, you look at, if I'm a pro athlete, no matter what, what my situation is, I'm looking for probably taxes first, city second, team third would be my guess. Yeah. You want to live in a place where you want to live. You want to live somewhere where the taxes are low. I mean, based on the amount of money you're making. And then you start to look at the team. And I think that some of these cities that aren't the most attractive to live in, Minnesota, nothing against them, Baltimore, they're all nice enough, but they're not Miami. They're not LA. They're not,
it's really a different kind of nice, right?
Right.
It's not the same as beach nice.
But you have to make sure that when you can get by that, that the team that's there to back it is competitive enough that keeps you rolling. Because I mean, if we start to thin the league out like some of these massive deals will do, then the two things that pay the price are the end product, which is what we get to see. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is the minor league systems in all of these teams, because they can't afford to promote anybody that they know will be a star. So they've either got to trade them off to somebody who thinks they can afford to keep them. So then you just keep recycling, not any different than sort of what the Jays did this year, just sort of bringing up mediocrity and trying to get through, just trying to trudge through the season. So
let's talk about that part, unless there's something else anybody wants to beat on the whole Soto thing, out of the fact that the Blue Jays apparently had a $700 million 15-year deal allegedly on the table. Problem is, there's that whole extra $60 million that we didn't put in there to get a. But
No, I'm gonna beat on that a bit. Just one more second. I'm just stoked that at least we were doing it. At least we went for it. We didn't. I don't hate where we landed. I don't know. I would be happy if they just signed okay, what if they just got me? I don't know, a Teoscar bat and a Santander. Get me both. Can we get two of those? Would those be cheaper than Soto together? No. Get me two of them.
Yeah, take two to go.
Yeah.
So the Peanut Gallery's got another one here for you, Liz, that I know you're going to take too close to heart here because you've been on strike basically for the fact that the Blue Jays need to just hurry up and sign Vladdy.
Hold on. I am not on strike. I just said I wasn't buying my ticket packages before I saw the on-field product. All right, I'm not on strike. Although fuck them if they don't.
Peacefully protesting maybe was the right word.
I think so. I don't know what is going on there. It is so bizarre to me. I've said this before, I say it again. I'm worried about the hubris of our front office to not acknowledge that they have a superstar and pander to that superstar and sign him, because what is happening is these teams are building something. So, Alonso, I don't know if he's going to go or is he? He's currently a Met still, right?
Yeah.
He's
a free agent.
Yeah.
He is a free agent?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's a free agent. He is not tradable. He is actually legit a free agent.
So, but you're at least they're oh, the Mets are building something, or there's other teams that are building something. We don't have the illusion that we're building anything. Honestly, guys, we don't have any guys. I've said it. We're just we don't got any guys. Anyway.
Yeah, so everybody out there, 192 of you live on the chat right now, let us know what you're thinking as far as the Sotos and the Vlads fun. We do have another one here from Kevin DGC on our Twitter feed. Corbin Burns.
I want him.
Do you think you're actually literally in it? I honestly think it's down to what it sounds like is two teams, which is us and the Giants, and possibly I think the Yankees are still sniffing around, but that surprises me a little bit.
Yankees just signed somebody
over the last week. Yes,
yeah, I think Max Fried takes the Yankees out of that. I mean, you can't have that many guys, in your starting roadie. There's not enough days. You've got to have a couple of lower value targets in there as well. I mean, I think Burns would be a good addition to the Jays. Obviously, I mean, this goes back to our Blake Snell conversation many times.
He's good at pitching. He's
he can throw that thing right down the pipe. And he seems to be a decent dude, everything that I've seen or read about him seems to be that he would probably fit in. I mean, I feel like this whole thing and it irks me to say it, is that it's a bit of a smoke and mirror show to have us look away from the serious warts that the Jays do have. And
you mean the giant gaping holes in our outfield and
yeah, I mean, our closer, our middle relief. I mean, why would you want to focus on that? Why wouldn't we throw $700 million at one dude that can't do any of those things really well? Anyways,
concepts of a plan. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you guys listened to the interview with Schneider from the Winter Meetings. I mean, he sounds like he is there actually trying to do the things that Jays management isn't trying to do, which is good. Correct. I feel like he has some autonomy, and I feel like he has the ability to go out there and talk to Atkins and be like, look, this is what we need to do, not what you guys are doing. He didn't seem fazed by the Juan Soto thing at all. There would be a lot of managers that would be like, damn it, like why didn't we get that guy? But yeah, I mean, I think if you start
the Blue Jays front office, I don't know if you saw that story that Ted Rogers actually did try to help, or Ed Rogers, try to help with that whole thing with getting Soto in. So I don't know, take that where you want, I guess, at that point. But yeah,
here's a family cell phone plan.
Here's my statue.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I don't know, Craig, you probably don't know how much cell phone plans cost in Canada, but if he had given him a free one,
my God,
that's like
can't be any better here. I'm
thousands,
something dollars for 4 phones,
thousands, guys.
You know what, Juan? We're gonna throw in an iPhone 11 with all of the like a full long distance plan, and your
and you can talk on that in your family suite. You can't use the internet. Well, you can now because of Taylor Swift internet. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. T-Swift got this. Don't worry about it. But to put a bow on it, we got Michael Borland here that's also saying that the Burns thing is a beautiful slot into our rotation. We are in a season that we are going to be losing Kevin Gossman after the 2025 season due to free agency, and we're going to be losing Chris Bassett. Take that how you want with where this team could go over the next year. But if you bring somebody like Corbin Burns in on what is projected, I just had it in front of me and I lost it. I want to say they were talking about a 6-7 year deal, maybe 8. So
how old
you're
is he?
hoping, obviously, that he lives that out. He's 30.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know, man. Verlander's 600. He can
there.
pitch.
Yeah, Verlander is 600.
Yeah, man.
I think Scherzer's older.
So,
anyways. But
yes.
The other thing that I wanted to mention from that, the John Schneider, and I don't know, again, I didn't see if you guys nodded that you saw it or not, but he went into pretty solid depth about the fact that he is, like, him and Vladdy are good friends. They're not just, they've been together for a long time. And he didn't sound, and again, it could be a duck going across the water where the legs could be going insane underneath the water because he knows that they haven't done anything. My feeling, and it sort of speaks to I saw somebody, Michelle, kind of commented to this in the chat as well, is my feeling is that they've gone to Vladdy, they've given him a number, and Vladdy said, yeah, that's about what we're talking about. Let's get through this free agency stuff first and see what we can get. And then you guys can announce that I'm signed. It's, to me, it feels too calm. If they hadn't gone to Vladdy with an offer that was close, I would think Vladdy would be out there working to try and make it so that, and it's interesting when you see, like, obviously the Twitterverse goes nuts when somebody changes and Teoscar changed his picture, and so everybody goes insane. But Vladdy's the same type of guy that if he wanted to start masking threats, he would do it. He's not an idiot.
Did he not already when he liked that photo of himself in that Boston outfit or uniform?
But there needs to be more than that.
No.
Yeah. Vladdy's a drama bomb. He'd do it. And like everyone's going on about like, well, him and Teo are working out together. And I think, you want to know what I think that means? They're friends and they work out together.
It's weird, eh?
Yep.
He's working out with right? What's his name? The guy that the guy we traded from second base. They're playing baseball every day together.
Spence.
Yeah.
It's like.
So before we go into the obvious other parts of the winter meetings here, as we are, approaching the middle of the show with 234 of it, I got maybe the best question that we could be asking this whole entire off season in the chat here that I have to put on display, and there it is. Are the Jays a real threat to just start another rebuild?
I think they need to. Yes, I think that like this needs to be the start of it. Like, we're not contending, lads.
But don't you guys think
that shitter get off the pot to begin this season? I really think if they don't figure out how to fill some of these holes cleverly in the near weeks.
I 100% agree, and I think Jeremy's right. But I don't know if anybody knows what a rebuild is anymore. Like, no one wants to give up on a season except for the A's. And just
Pirates maybe,
but they don't have any, like, the Pirates appear to now have done the right thing for 2 years and just been awful. And now they're like, look,
place.
Yeah, we're willing to trade some of our strongest prospects away here because we know how close we are. Yeah. We know we're a good team. We know we've got a great player at pretty much every position. We've got a good young player behind those guys, and we have enough in the stable that we can start dealing. And you're going to start to see the Penguins. The Pirates are going to make a bunch of moves, and they will be a very strong team this year.
I agree. They committed.
So in the guise of this whole rebuild fund, I'm sure you all have seen, I'll say, the MLB network just trying to piss off every Blue Jay fan on social media and whatnot over the last week during the winter meetings. But I saw this one and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I think that, Greg Alpito's here with the kitty from 70s show properly sums up the level of fun for this trade, because it is freaking horrible. We're talking about a team that we're going to lose Bo Bichette in the near future. The only person that is a viable prospect in our whole system that is a high-end person is the one that is the current rightful heir to our shortstop area, which is Arjun Namala, who had a very nice season, regardless of the injuries that he had suffered through the minor league season this year. And not to mention, we barely even got to see Jake Bloss in our minor league uniform yet. This is almost in the level of another trade that literally just happened. And what is Cody Bellinger really giving us?
Nothing.
Other than a giant.
He gives you a left-handed bat. He gives you an okay left-handed bat. You know, and it's one of those things where, and I read today that I mean, obviously that's insane. I read today that the Yankees are probably going to throw a decently sized bone at Bellinger. I mean, they don't care anymore. They've got they're in the they're in a similar but different spot
their future.
than the Jays.
I'm fine with that.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know or not, but to stay under the Lux tax, the Jays have about $15 million, I think, to work with for this season, which isn't a lot. So
yeah,
you
they were prepared to blow by that with Juan Soto's alleged offers, so maybe it doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's for one season. Because maybe you lose. You know, I mentioned you're going to have Gossman, Bassett, and a lot of these other guys come off in the next 2 years. Maybe they're okay winning. I have no idea, but I'll give you 50-50. That's a true idea or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's I you know, back to just the idea of a rebuild. I'm with you guys that we had an opportunity last year to do it. We had an opportunity to, I don't know, trade Springer for a bag of balls, and, you know, get rid of just all of the dead weight that we have lying around, and basically take the kids from Buffalo, move in a couple of different players, maybe take a flyer on some of the younger, really good outfielders that are out there, that like Pittsburgh's got a couple that are on the block right now. You know, maybe that Horowitz deal could have been done with that. And then we don't need to bring in our 17th second baseman. And I don't want to take anything away from this guy. This guy is, when we're talking generational talent at second base, this guy might be the best second baseman to play the game in, I don't know, 20 years. I mean, his hands are electric. His footwork.
Can he hit?
Unbelievable. No, he can't hit, unfortunately.
So that's the thing is, like,
just put a bow on it, right? So the Blue Jays trade Spencer Horowitz for Nick Selden and Andrés Giménez to the, from the Cleveland Indians. So we have an everyday second baseman now. That is 100% what we got out of this trade.
Who could be a shortstop also.
Correct. There is that. So go Liz.
So my thing is this is my thing with the rebuild. You have to really commit to the rebuild. You got to like go all in if we're going to do a rebuild. My thing is our ownership isn't good enough at baseball teams to lead us in a rebuild. That's it.
If there's a rebuild, all of them get fired. That's the only thing
that's it. That's the whole thing is, like, even though I think we do need a rebuild, because I would like to be contending in a couple of years, I think that their jobs are on the line and they would see it as a failure to start a rebuild. So instead we're riding this middle line of going after players, being stuck with, I don't know, the team they built, which is honestly all the same guy in the outfield, which is going to get us another all-team gold glove.
We're the best gold glove team in baseball. 2 years in a row, and it's
you know what?
3. No offense.
Nope. It's all glove, no bat. Like, guys,
all glove, no love.
bat. Yeah, that's it.
I was just going to go there.
Right? And so, but I think that, like, I don't know. I think we need a rebuild. And I think we're just pussyfooting around it. And at the end of the season, if it's not working out, they've got to commit to that. They're saying we're going to contend next year. There's a lot of holes.
On the flip side of that, though, and I do agree that there needs to be massive changes, sweeping changes. But here's my problem. Rodgers has an absolute insane amount of money, So why don't we just pull our heads out of the sand and start figuring out a way to compete with these other teams? Like, I mean, again, like we're talking about, like Baltimore and Minnesota, and St. Paul, maybe not being the greatest cities to go to. Let's, put Toronto into that. It's not the most beautiful city. It's nice. It's nice enough. But if you're comparatively talking about some of the cities in like San Diego or Miami, those are much nicer cities, whether you want to play there or not.
Out there I want to contrary you with a counterpoint here, just to be a dick. Miami is an amazing place to go hang out and be tourism and everything. Then why the fuck do the Miami Marlins suck so hard?
I don't know. I like their fish logo. I mean,
I think it's the old hockey adage of the two teams that were down there before. Like the Lightning and the Panthers both sucked for a long time. Lightning less. Now they're both great. And what they've realized is they've created this whole community down there. There's more kids playing hockey than there ever was. Yeah. There's 2 or 3 guys that are in the NHL right now that are from Florida. Like that kind of stuff doesn't happen by accident. And I think that if Toronto wants to do this right, I mean, baseball is doing really well in the country of Canada right now. And one of our weakest spots is Ontario, which is so weird. I mean, you got the most amount of people there. You've got the Jays there. And yet, like when it's U13, U15, 11, 12s, the teams from Ontario get smashed. They show up and they're like, and it's, to me, it's so strange, right? Like, I mean, it's you would think that that large city center would draw that. And I think part of what they're missing is they have to start attaching this team to the city. Like John Schneider was talking about, when you come to Toronto, to the Jays, you're part of a nationwide team. Don't sell it like that. Sell it Toronto first, and then outside of it, that's the only way.
I think that's that cultural diversity part that you were talking about. Toronto is a wonderful melting pot of so many cultures, Jason, and the fact that everybody brings all those things with them from all these countries. Hockey might not be the biggest focus. Baseball might not be the biggest focus.
Basketball,
all these things. So exactly, it might be whatever, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about Toronto is that wealth of everything that you get from everywhere.
I'm gonna argue the counterpoint that isn't a counterpoint, but supports both your points, but harder. I there's this part of me that we are Canada's team for real, but I do like it, and I get really annoyed during playoff time when I can't get tickets because the whole nation is trying to get tickets to my regional team. But it's true. This is the thing. It's like somebody will go sign in Milwaukee. All right, they're gonna go to Milwaukee, the good land. It's a Wayne's World reference, and they're going to, and then they look at Toronto and they're like, it's just a bunch of igloos in the middle of nowhere. When we are a cultural diverse city, we have all the stuff. We got all the food you would need. Is it New York? No, it's like a smaller New York. It's got parties. It's got a vibe.
My experience when you more crazy.
When you walk out of the stadium, there's a vibe. There's parties going on right when you walk out, which New York doesn't have. Other places don't have that cool vibe. So I think for me, it's marketing Toronto, the city, the experience. You can raise a family here. You can party on King Street right after the game. You can have it all. So I think that that gets lost in we're Canada's team. Yeah, you are going to have a nationwide following, but you're also going to have a really good life.
So, anything you want to add to that, Jason, before I steer the
only thing that I'll add to it is, and this is what makes it super difficult, is you're getting taxed at a 50% rate as well, basically. So, I mean, if you're signing where Juan Soto signs, wherever he signs, it's a significant impact to his paycheck to come up here.
I will. Okay, but they did a story on that.
Here in New York,
it's not much better. New York, California, it's not much better, and you're only taxed.
Probably not.
Where you're,
I can vouch for New York.
It's a marginal. So they looked into it. It's a marginal difference, much less than you think, because you're also taxed based on where you play, which would be a nightmare administratively. So you're only taxed half the games, and your taxes is pretty much the same as New York or BC.
Crazy.
So the tax thing doesn't really matter as much as you think it would, because you're playing half your games everywhere else.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Onward McDuck.
Oh, onward McDuck. So just because we've been having so much fun, and I got to post up a few of these wonderful comments that I've seen floating through here. There's a great string here. So first things first, this was one for our Corbin Burns thing, is I don't think Rogers would pay to agree Burns and then rebuild if they miss him. I think that's a valid state, but I do think if they do miss out on him, that wouldn't be a bad catalyst to just say, you know what, nuke it, because why not? But then it goes on to mention, I lost the comment. Where'd it go? Oh, here you go. But then, pitch that to him, though. He'll come and lose 2-1 every start.
Oh, he probably will. Bless his heart.
Run support. Run support.
Yeah.
Run support.
Yep. And that's about it perfectly in a nutshell. I love I love defense. I love web gems as much as anybody else, and I love great pitching. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go full John Madden here. If you don't put points on the board, you don't win the game. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So we saw that in full effect last season, that this team was very, very good at getting people on base. Couldn't find a way to bring them home.
It's just the worst. It's the worst hell to be in.
So how the hell do we fix this, gang? Because at the end of the day, this trade for Andrés Giménez, like we said, moves the needle in one direction to basically just ensuring that we get another team gold glove. But is he going to be the guy he was a few years ago, batting near 300? Maybe. I'll give you a chance that he has that opportunity, but kind of doubting it. But at the end of the day, we gave up a guy that I love, Spencer Horowitz. I was a big fan of his. Where do I put him? So I trade for another great middle infielder is the unfortunate catch here.
Yeah, we're rot with them. We lead the league in good to better middle infielders, and we can't just keep forcing guys out into the outfield that don't play the position. I mean, I didn't think we had a ton of outfield errors this year, but we had enough balls that weren't tracked well, and we had enough balls that touched the ground that shouldn't have, that it needs to be something that you need to address. Now, I mean, Teo does address a big chunk of that if you get him. He's familiar with the city. He likes the team. He likes the guys. He likes the manager. He likes every part of it.
And he's turned into a good defensive left fielder.
A great defensive
that's the
left
thing.
fielder.
I think that,
I
think that's very shocking.
I agree with that. And he's got
then
dimples.
maybe, that's why I was a little surprised they didn't push a little harder for Matt O'Neill. But I mean, I can't believe how much money he signed for.
Oh God, I couldn't believe.
And he's Canadian too.
Who ended up getting Tyler O'Neill? End up getting.
That's what I meant, Tyler O'Neill.
I knew you meant. Who
he got a lot.
With? Oh, the Orioles. The Orioles he signed with. Right. So that's the other part of this conversation. The winter meetings go by. So not only did we not add any giant good key pieces that moved the needle in the right direction, we watched all three of our major competitors get better this past week. Yankees added, Baltimore added, Red Sox added. It's not making it any easier on us.
No, it's not.
And it's only going to get worse. I mean, they realize that we're in the group of death. Like, I mean, the AL East is the group of death. And if you don't compete with the Yankees, and then you're going to get left behind early in the season, and it's hard to catch back up.
Man.
And it's going to start. It's going to start to get bloody out there, and it's going to start to get where you get down to your 170th pick in your fantasy draft, and you want to kick the guy in the shins across from you because he just took, the third wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he's the best they've got out there. So, I mean, it's going to get to be one of those things where the commodities that teams have are going to get thin. And then what do you do? Like, I mean, you've got to hope. We've been very lucky. Let's as a team and as a fan group, we've been very lucky with what's come up from Buffalo and how they played. Really lucky. Like, I can't think of too many teams around the league who've been able to run off the sort of last six we've been able to do. And there's more down there. I mean, I think we're really hard on our system. I think we're hard on what we think Buffalo has. Again, they have to make the leap to being an MLB player, which we've seen, like some of the drafts that you're seeing going to some, like some of the trades. You look at some of these kids and you're like, that kid went, fifth overall? And he's hitting 112, and you're like, but it's levels, right? And you have to get comfortable at those levels. And that's why, you very rarely see an 18-year-old kid get into the majors, or even a 20-year-old kid. Pitchers are a little different, but I mean, to catch up with major league hitting and pitching and fielding as well, you kind of need to be 24 to 26. And that's hard because you're already into a prime part of your life, and then, if you sign a 10-year deal, you're 38. Oh shit. Oh God. So it's a really small window that keeps getting smaller. And, there's opportunities for these guys that are midline baseball players to go play pro ball in Australia and in Spain and in other places in the world that are beautiful to live in. And I'm sure would be a blast to go there and be a star there. they're starving for other sports stars, and I know they're starting to climb upwards in Australia for pay. It's nowhere near what the majors is, but it's equivocal to
it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and equivalent to what a normal job that you can't get because you're a baseball player. You don't have any other training at that point. So
just watch out, though. If you happen to go to Australia, everything will kill you there. Just don't touch everything. You'll be fine. So I think I might have found in the comments section, you saw me laughing a minute ago. I might have found the answer to all our prayers. And this is the Blue Jays off season in a nutshell. You sign me Rich Hill, we're set, right?
Yo, okay, guys, wait. Sorry. Who's Rich Hill?
The 900-year-old pitcher that won't retire.
There we go. Okay, great.
Somehow makes it back to Major League Baseball. He's been Jason? I think he's been on like 10 teams in the last 6 years or something like that.
Something insane like that. And he just keeps. It's like he won some sort of a lottery. And the teams have to take him. Like one team has to take him every year. Like he's the son of the commissioner of baseball or something. And they're like, oh shit, you got to throw him on the team again.
It's a way to miss bats, though. That's the thing that's more wild and shocking to me. The guy barely throws 85 anymore. Make Mark Burley lights him up for Blue Jays fans. But I think the Blue Jays might legit be the only team in the American League East he has not played on at this moment.
Maybe it's our year.
Might be right.
It might be our obligatory year for Rich Hill. That's everybody shares.
Yeah, contract obliged. So I want to throw this out here because the biggest part of the rest of this show, and Jason, I know you got to run here, and so when you do, just give us a. So there are bats available for the Blue Jays to spend money on outside of the what we were talking about earlier with Corbin Burns. We've talked about Teoscar. Pete Alonso is probably the most consistent home run and RBI bat currently left available, but there is obviously a position problem there with Vlad DHing back and forth. Maybe that spells longevity. I don't know. But then you very quickly get down to the Josh Bells, the Anthony Rizzos. The one rumor that I hope goes to full-on dead sleep right now is hearing any word or mention of Gleyber Torres.
No.
Exactly. But there's also, I think it's funny that somebody said they retired and he's still on this list. It's Charlie Blockman. But there's Jock Peterson's, JD Martinez, the one that you have been very avid for, Mr. Lions, and that is Anthony Santander. Kills the Blue Jays. What would he?
I will buy a Santander jersey the second they sign him.
Yes. So I believe he's 32.
He's 30, isn't he?
30. He's exactly 30. So I thought for some reason I was thinking he was 32. But this is a guy that, and honestly, this was one of the reasons I was maybe thinking there could be something to the Giménez offense. That was a guy that when he was playing for the Guardians, he found a way to beat the Blue Jays up in the Rogers Center all the time.
Yeah.
Santander destroyed the Blue Jays at home every.
And if you can't beat them, join them, right? If you can't beat them, join them. And, and just think about this for 1 second. Here's our outfield. Here's my projected outfield. If you give me the small checkbook, Teo in left, Varsho in center, and Santander in right. I mean, you've got two guys that can murder the baseball, and then you've got, Varsho is. I feel like he's the gift that keeps on giving at this point. He had a better year, and I mean, I think one more even more comfortable year, and we might see the guy that. I mean, because there's no way that as many people could have been big on this guy as they were and have him come out not. It's never happened, really. Maybe one or two times, and I mean, he can play. He's got a great arm. The bat will come, and when it does, I think that we'll all be surprised at it because I mean he's always hit at every level he's ever been at. But that'd be a pretty sweet outfield, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think the thing I like about that is the Blue Jays do have enough prospects that would get some reps rotated in there and Loperfido and whatnot to give those guys a DH day if you don't have somebody like Alonso or whoever steal those at bats. That was one nice little piece we get from moving Spencer Horowitz. I think he was going to end up being the DH this year a lot if you didn't move him because he could hit. Yeah. So it's not the worst thing in the world. And then to your point, Jason, those two guys between Teo, Santander, Springer, keep Varsho in the outfield, rotate that fourth or fifth outfielder in and just keep it moving, right?
What about there's like a je ne sais quoi piece of we don't know what it's going to happen with our buddy Orelvis Martinez. Wonder what's going to happen there. Don't know. I hope we're pleasantly surprised. I won't plan based on it. I hope
he's on the 40-man roster.
I don't know. I feel like they, I feel like he's going to get a run this year. I think I feel like we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Yeah. He's got an unbelievable eye. I mean, even him as a DH, like he sees the rotation of the baseball so well. He hits every pitch.
We don't have a third baseman.
We're gonna get one, maybe. We'll have one, maybe.
Maybe we'll get one.
Yeah, maybe we'll get one.
Ernie Clement. Ernie Clement is our penciled-in third baseman for opening day right now. Which,
what about the mustache?
Or Schneider, but to that point, I think we saw the best out of Ernie Clement and what he could possibly do this past season. I agree with you. There's obviously some, thunder in the bat of Davis Schneider, who he played very well at third base those few games he played. But I think Clement obviously just showed that he can be a Gold Glove third baseman. Yeah. But to that point, the other rumor I never want to hear one word about again is if we sign Alex Bregman, this show is going to become very gloomy for me. It's just I don't get it. I don't know why everybody
keeps coming back.
The giant dumpster pile of money that he needs.
He's got to be
the last 3 years.
How old is Bregman? He's got to be old.
I don't think he's that old.
I don't think he's as old as you think. I think he entered into the league very young.
I like the way I'm like, these guys are so old. And they're like, we're 27. We're 32. And I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
I bet she's not even 31. That'd be my guess.
He's exactly 30. He'll be 31 by opening day.
He's a young pup then, still, according to me.
Yeah, but he wants like 20 mil, 30 mil a year. And I'm sitting here going, sorry, Scott Boras, I don't think he's worth even the 20.
No.
But he hasn't hit in 3 years.
But somebody's going to take him. Somebody will. Somebody will make him an offer in that ballpark.
But not the Blue Jays.
Me too.
I don't know. I worry about how desperate we're going to get around the end there for some dinger bats. So I will see. But guys, remember when it was Vogelback times? What weird days those were. I don't want to be Vogelback.
No, but our new Vogelback could be Addison Barger. I mean, if we want to, if we want a big boy and he can play 3, he can play the outfield. He's not great in the outfield, but he's got a cannon of an arm.
It's true.
I mean,
he can hit. I'm looking to see it translate to the majors, and I really do think that. Honestly, I really wouldn't be worried if we went into spring training at third base was the hole in our lineup. If we figure this outfield thing out and we figure out this bullpen thing, third base, those guys rotating people around between Clement, Schneider, Orelvis Martinez, Addison Barger.
Yeah,
not a bad deal there. There's enough. There's somebody's going to hit now one of those for me.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
I love you. Yeah. I love you guys, but I'm going to have to bounce. I got a basketball game and a hockey game to deal with.
Whoa, cool sports, Dad. Have fun.
Safe travels in your hour and a half.
Everybody, thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. It was we had big numbers that go in there. I love it. I love all this.
We had 300 a minute ago.
Love the people. All right, have a great night, guys.
Cheers, bud. Talk to you soon. Right. So, Liz, talk to me here as far as what do you think as far as that part of that offense? Are we going to be okay with some of these kids maybe finding their way into third base?
I don't know.
Conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think I don't know. We could put Barger there. Yeah, Barger at third. Yeah. We have options for third. I'm like, this is the thing. I am more worried about our bullpen than third base. Third base, I'm like, we got a guy for that. If there's guys we can shift over, cool. But there's some positions we don't have guys for. And that's my concern right now is finding those people, finding that depth. Yimi Garcia came back. How do you feel about that, Craig?
I'm going to be very stressed, but I think that's a better addition than nothing.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. He wanted to come back as an easy slot back.
Correct. And then honestly, it made us win that trade 1,000 times over. So yeah. I'm strangely okay with it. We got a couple of good players out of that trade, and then we get them back. Game on. So,
yeah, I'm going to just say there's a comment from me in the chat that Schneider will not be a Blue Jay come spring training. I don't know about that.
Find that one.
I don't know. Yeah. I hope he is. I hope that we hold on to him. Even if we just put him back in the minors for a bit and pull him back up midseason, I think he's a good asset. He's got major league experience. I don't know what we get.
He's got to have options.
Yeah, I'd like to have him either. I always root for the guy. But I would like to see him if he doesn't make the opening day roster. I'd like to see him brought up when we need him and have him just kind of down there as a resource because we're going to need – it's a long season.
Yeah. So we've got another great comment here right after Misha dropped that one on us. Jeremy is, what about Nolan Arenado? And I would love to see Nolan Arenado finish his career as a Toronto Blue Jay. But the reading that I have been seeing, but I hope the Blue Jays are at least doing the due diligence on it to give him a sales pitch. He has a full no trade clause. And apparently at the moment, the Toronto Blue Jays are not on the list of authorized teams for the Cardinals to quote unquote trade him to. He'd have to approve said trade. But like I said, I really do think that would be a great veteran presence. We've talked about on this show many a times between you, me, Jason. Who's the veteran catalyst that's going to be the Dave Winfield, the Paul Mahler, to light a fire under these youngsters' ass? Nolan Arenado wants a damn win. He needs that. He really does. And you can still see he's got that grind in him, and he's just running out of time on the field. So I can see why the no trade clause is a big thing for him, is he wants to go to a winner if they're going to trade him from St. Louis.
Yeah.
But fun fit.
Yeah, it's fun
the Blue
fit.
Jays strike out everywhere else.
This is the thing. It's like what I'm stressed about is like I'm stressed about the bullpen. I mean, our farm team keeps me up at night, daily, yearly, monthly. But
as much fun as Buffalo is, right?
Well, Buffalo's great, but there's got to be some more depth there. You know, you look at like everyone's some people have fancier farm teams than we have. Just saying, they get on lists.
And by the way, by that definition, every team in Major League Baseball currently has a better.
I like when you say better. I just say fancier. The other thing is that you know, so I want to like winter meetings. Are they over now? Right? Yeah, they're over. I see the reporters coming back on the Twitters. So it's going to take us a while. They say we're going to get the bats later. Like the bats will come throughout the season. So I'm kind of just like,
you've said that for
2-3 years. That's the thing. They're liars. They're liars. But I'm just gonna like take a breath.
That's what you say to the cameras, but you don't say the quiet part out loud, Liz.
No. We know they're liars. I'm not lying to my friends. But I'm kind of like trying to take a staged approach to this. I really hope that we see some action on the bullpen. If it's opening day and our bullpen looks largely the same, although do we even have a full bullpen right now?
Right now, our farm system would be in our bullpen.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is,
just to say this, to put the cherry on the top, I was wrong. The Blue Jays only have the 24th ranked minor league system of 30 in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So, but yes, it's been a rough one.
Just like dingers and better pitching. Just give me some dingers that are fun to watch. Give me some pitching that works. And like, I'm going to be pretty happy this season. I'm not, I don't know what's going to happen, but man, dingers are fun. Love those.
Yeah. Somebody's going to contrary to you on that whole thing, and they're clearly semi-sarcastic here, is that defense wins championships, Liz. Did you know that? Yeah,
this is my thing. It does. But let's get that low-hanging fruit up. Let's shore up that low-hanging fruit.
Yes, exactly. And they need the bats. I'm all for it, but at the end of the day, like I said, you got to put points on the board. And I got one other one here that John is asking about, Mr. Cody Bellinger, who we alluded to a little bit earlier in the show. But the news is that right now, apparently, the Yankees are quote unquote in a front running position to somehow get him. But then this is the thing that doesn't make any goddamn sense to me about the Cubs in general. Not only are the Yankees trying to get Cody Bellinger, but the Cubs are turning around and trying to get Kyle Tucker from the Astros to fill the spot that they're vacating with Cody Bellinger. I don't get it. Why would you trade a good outfielder just to turn around and get another one? Trading Cody Bellinger to me as a Cubs fan says, here's the rebuild, and then you bring another great outfielder back in. I
don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we have a comment about Orelvis. I think Orelvis is going to have a slamming year this year. That's my hope for him. I hope he surprises all of us. We kind of gave up on him.
It's the chip on the shoulder.
Yeah,
I really do. I think something to prove.
And I'm like, I'm stoked. I'm stoked. Like we didn't really have a good snapshot of him last year. I do hope that this is the year he breaks out, because as a fan base, don't we need it? Don't we need that?
We need a win.
Yeah, we need a win.
Even something like that. A star that'll actually step up. As much as I love Schneider and Clement and everything, I really do. But we haven't had a real impact prospect come since Bo, Vlad, any of that level. We might be getting that with Bowden Francis if he continues any level of what he did at the end of the season, including the near no-hitter you and I were at. Mm-hmm. And I know you cheated and got to see another one almost, but that's besides the point. But yes, I do really think that I would love to see that. I would love to see him come into spring training with that. I'm going to prove to you that that was a fluke. It was really the exact.
Yeah, he better have
bullshit.
He better have a baby. Show up with a baby and just slamming dingers.
Yes, get the popcorn ready. So, Liz, that's pretty much what I had on table for the show this evening. Is there any other Blue Jays topics you would like to talk into tonight? Or is there anything else in the peanut gallery?
Yeah, let's open it to the peanut gallery. Anything you guys want to talk about? Any points you want to raise? Yeah. Any hopes you have for this offseason?
295 of you in the chat, and we've been getting plenty of you chiming in when possible tonight. Please drop us a message here while we're wrapping up the show. And but to that point, spring training is not terribly far away. It's right around the year here. We'll ask for the Christmas presents and we'll see what we get, right? So, Liz, right now, if you were able to just pick something to actually go to a full fruition, what is your person that you would like to be grabbing off the free agent wire to be able to quote unquote fix this team?
I would say give me a bat. I want a good bat. Not just like it's going to take more than this piece to fix the team. But let's get me Santander or Teo. I've said it before. Like, I don't think Teo's coming back. I think he's going to stay a Dodger. I think that winning culture would be very, very hard to leave. And I would be very surprised to see him leave it, especially come back east. But I would like to see sign me a good steady bat, because you haven't been, like, the Jays just haven't been like, they say they're going to get it, they don't get it. Please get me the bat so that I can. My favorite thing to do, get ready, at the Rogers Center at the Sky Dome, is when you have two beers in your hand and they hit a dinger and you stand up, because that's what you do, and the foghorn hits and your beers in your hands just vibrate. It's the best feeling, guys.
It really is, and we need more of that. And I love the foghorn. I miss the fireworks in the dome. I really do, and I think that there's got to be some reason for us to get out and scream a little bit extra loud. And thank you, everybody. I'm going to get to some of these comments that we have coming through here. This one was actually a good one. And honestly, this is one of the players that I'm surprised in Major League free agency hasn't gotten a little bit more attention. And that's Max Kepler from the Minnesota Twins. He has been a sneaky good outfielder for actually a pretty good amount of time for the Twins. He's finally a Major League Baseball free agent. He could be a really nice cheap bat to put in the back of this lineup and really balance some things out. But he knows how to get guys in. You put lineup around him, it wouldn't shock me that he's an 80 RBI guy. Yeah. So that's a nice one. I like that.
And would we pay Teo more than Mookie's making if you want him? I don't know, man. I'm not. I mean, I know the Jays have the cash, but I don't know. He's not a Mookie Betts. Maybe he is. I don't know. You know what? Can I just be a really hot take?
I question how long.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be my point. Right now, I want to win, and if Teoscar is the point that I can get there, and I know he's going to help us win for 3 years, I'd pay him whatever right now for 3 years.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that we all know that Teoscar is going to get in this lineup and he'll click. So
because he's our vibe.
I'll overpay to get that back. And honestly, I wonder if him coming back, injecting the seed fund and everything back into the lineup would actually be the reason Vlad stays. I would wonder if that's a catalyst for bigger things. I really would.
Okay,
now you've seen that he can be the champion.
When Vladdy was on the home run derby last year, the one that he won 2 years ago. So Teo won, Vladdy won.
Yes.
So when Vladdy won and he was on the phone in between rounds getting advice, everyone thought he was talking to his dad. He was there upstairs, but no, he was talking to Teo. Those guys are tight. So yeah, I don't think anything bad happens.
And then the flip of that happened.
Yeah, next year.
This past home run derby.
Yeah.
Vlad was the Teo whisperer.
And I feel like Teo's matured a bit. Like when he was with us, we had to bench him for bad defense. I think a couple times. I think we maybe even sent him down. And now you see him stepping up and taking the role of I'm going to be the guy. I want to be the guy. He even said he did the home run derby to help the Dodgers be the guy, to raise the profile. And then he was like, I'm going to win it. So he's kind of taking on this role of, being one of the leaders on the team, I think.
Yeah. So I'm going to clean this one up a little bit just because we are a moderately level kid-friendly of a show here. But Greg Williams more or less said, until this duo gets out there and is sent packing for our front office, we are never going to get out of this bullshit that we're currently in.
This is the thing.
There's some sauce to that.
We're operating within a framework of failure because our overlords are bad at making baseball teams. I truly believe that our overlords are bad at it, and so, but we are where we are with these horrible, rich suit and tie wearing baseball overlords, robots, if you will, but like flawed robots.
Better letting MLB the show sim our fucking off season here.
Deeply flawed. So, here's the thing: either the experiment works out this year, or it doesn't, and hopefully we'll see them gone. That's we all hope for that.
So the biggest point to everything that is going on, the winter meetings are officially done, and this is 100% an accurate statement. We are 79 days away from actually getting this thing going again, and I'm looking forward to it, Liz. For all the love or the hate or anything, I am unfortunately the glutton for punishment. Being a Bills, Sabres, Toronto Blue Jays fan, thankfully my Bills are finally in some level of relevance the last few years, but I don't know what winning is. It'd be nice to get back to that finally, but hopefully something right happens in the next 79 days. And the Blue Jays put something that is a level of a good product that can actually contend. And we'll see, because we also don't know what we're going to get. We just had an influx of wonderful young talent in this last trade deadline. Who knows if Clase, Loperfido, whoever turn into the people we actually do need. And this is okay. But the problem is that's just hoping.
That's hoping. That's hoping.
Front office can't hope.
They hoped last year. They
hope something.
They hope for 2 years. They said
the last 3
years.
Entirety of their.
We trust our guys. So I think the other thing is all right. So I don't believe in I don't really do New Year's Day and New Year's resolutions, but I do opening day resolutions. So I'm always like the day of renewal is opening day. My day of hopefulness is opening day. It's the most hopeful day of the year. Everything else gets a bit weird after that, but it always feels like to me like that's the day that anything could happen. And the other thing is that it's 79 days away, and I'm like, okay, like it's a bit away, but it's not that far. But it'll be like opening days in 79 days. But pitchers and catchers report in like 2 days or something insane. Like they always like.
I think that might have been spring training days.
Those
79, 2 months ish, right? So that'd be February. So that's got to be spring training.
Yeah, so that's when the groundhog gets out of the hole. Yeah.
And the question is, will the Blue Jays see their shadow or not on their season? And we'll find out what's going on.
Yeah, I will say that. Okay, so Misha's got a good comment. Ride or die, as long as I'm in the stadium. I was turning to clickbait this weekend.
I agree with that statement.
Took my photo and they were like, sorry, buds, I gotta say, celebrity fan says, no, don't resign Vladdy or I won't come. And I was like, I'm not a celebrity. No. Secondly, like
I went viral for that the other day.
I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, because I was in the newspaper. But I did say like I'm holding off on buying my ticket package because like I invest in my ticket package ahead of time. Will I be going to the games? I'll still be in the stadium. We're all going to be there shouting about bad calls and being sad about our team. And I think that's it. In these dark times, we draw on each other, and we got to continue to do that.
Yeah, and to that point, Liz, that's why we've always been the 100%, barroom chat for Blue Jays fans, or therapeutic couch to sit on and talk out Blue Jays baseball, whichever happens to be the best thing.
I think
I've always summarized our show as like, we're hanging out, we're in a bar, things are going good, you hear everybody cheering, things are going bad, you hear the beer cans and the peanuts hitting the TV.
Yeah, so I'm gonna close it off. I'm just gonna we'll be back next Thursday. I'm assuming either 7 or 6. We started early this week.
Yeah, this is Jason.
And then
hour and a half commute.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have some more news on Burns. I want him. I want a really good starting pitcher. We're gonna lose our pitcher soon. He's in the market. I hope they make a really good run for him, and I think we have a chance of getting him.
Yep. And hopefully some of the guest fun that we are currently trying to figure out. We had a certain former Blue Jay top prospect email us back today, and we're hoping to get him on the show soon. There's your tease. So on that note, we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there all day, every day here on the Jaybird Watching podcast and talk all things Toronto Blue Jays. Is there anything else you would like to add, Liz, before we go?
No, man, that's it. Like, go Jays. I have no faith in our front office, but I choose to be optimistic.
I'm going to say one place I do have plenty of faith in the last, since we've had a few awesome guests on the show here lately. Leslie, nope, shout out. I love my new hat from the style company that you recommended. This thing is awesome. It's like near corduroy, like. It's actually not like crazy hot. I'm actually liking it 1 billion times, and it's actually got one of my favorite Toronto Blue Jay logos on it. So for the win. So thank you, Leslie. Great for having our hat talk a couple weeks ago. So on that note, Blue Jays fans, we will be here every Thursday evening for you the rest of the off season and into the spring training. We're going to have fun here every week, regardless of what we end up getting into. Make sure you tune in. Thank you very much to all of you in the peanut gallery, the cheap seats. 294 of you still with us here at the end of the show. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you hit us up on those comments during the live stream. Talk to us on social media at BirdwatchingGC. We are here for you. We want to be the place for all Blue Jays fans to congregate and chit chat. Make sure you join us. And if you are interested in maybe even being a possible guest on the show, we do an episode once every month or so. Make sure you join us. Let us know if you're interested, and we will talk it out and get you on the show.
Later,
Hope you have a great evening. And as always, let's go Blue Jays. Woo!
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!